That's right. We're back at it again. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about mastering the skills that make you unstoppable from rock bottom to rise up. I'm helping as many people as I can get from out of adversity to a point where they're successful back in their lives by learning the lessons from the failures and from the adversity that are going to catapult them into success. And then this one, how developing the right skills can catapult you from survival mode to peak performance in life, business, and purpose, and even in your relationships too. So listen, I'm not a coach when it comes to relationships or any of this sort. What I am is a guy that's failed so much in his life that I've gotten to a point where I just was sick and tired of failing. I was sick and tired of getting my way to a point of being average after risking so much and finding success, but only to come down to massive failure. And I realized if I could just get rid of that failure point and learn from the failure, I would find success and I would stay away from average. But the scary part is I stopped risking. And when I stopped risking and I started blaming everybody and everything for where I was at in my life, I realized, you know what? It's time to start leveling up. And that's when I created the No Comfort Zone. So let's get into today's podcast and focus on the blueprint. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Let's get real on this podcast. Real, relevant, and raw. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. Most people actually fail because they don't develop the skills that they need to thrive or even become moderately successful. So in this podcast that I'm going to do today, which is all about skills, I'm diving into the deep skills that are separate from stuck to get you successful. Listen, my voice has been jacked up, as you know or may not know. I deal with asthma. It's really bad, or I don't deal with it, as my wife says. But it's that time of the year in the Midwest, and my asthma kicked my ass. So I'm working through it in the best way I know how. And so apologize for the voice-related issues. But I try not to edit too much on this podcast, so you get what you get. And that's just me putting out as much content as I can that's going to be relevant to what you may or may not be going through. But when you do go through it, you can come back to this podcast and go, yeah, what did Dan say? What's that No Comfort Zone guy all about? Well, today's all about skills. So, this isn't a theory for me. This is straight from real life adversity. And as I always do, I'm going to share insights on my journey and weaving stories in and out of this. And there's a book that I read a while back, and it was a really influential book on me, as millions of people have read the book, but Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. The raw truth about building mental toughness and pushing past your limits. What's relevant about this is here's a guy who quite candidly put himself into major adversity to prove to who he could be, and he wanted to live to his potential. There's a quote that I have somewhere in my notes that I'll eventually get to, but one of the great parts about Goggins is when you really think about his life journey and the adversity that he did, he developed mental toughness, resilience, focus, and discipline, and it wasn't overnight. He did it through daily commitment. And when you think about skills and what you have to develop to get through adversity, quite frankly, to get to life average, it's a decision that you're going to have intention with. And through repeated execution, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. If you keep going the course, you're only going to have more adversity. You're only going to have more average. And the whole blueprint is designed to get your mindset right, put goals in place, and then get the wisdom that you need. And the only way that you're going to get wisdom is by reflecting on where you've been, getting knowledge. And here's the tough part: resources. He went through the SEALs, he went through the Air Force, and I think he went through Ranger School as well. The guy competes in ultramarathons, and he's constantly challenging himself whenever it calls. When he's feeling comfortable, he gets up and does something. He's the true No Comfort Zone guy. When you look at some of the most successful people, they don't do things when it feels right. They do things because it's the right thing to do. And I keep saying it over and over again. And if you can get this through your hard head, no matter where you're listening to this, when you do the right thing, the next right thing happens. And when you do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, which is right now, the next right thing happens. So you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. Simple keys in life that I didn't realize for the longest time. So as we talk about knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits, as we focus on skills, what do you need to do right now? Are your current skills, I suggest you write them down. What are you really good at? What are you really bad at? And what do you need to work on? Are they serving you? Whatever that might be. I have notebooks all over the place. I have grid paper all over the place. And I write down constantly. What do I need to work on right now? Organization. Case in point, as you noticed, I'm getting more organized with my podcast so I can communicate consistently to my listeners who have asked me to get more consistent. I'm serving you. I should serve you better. The product and who I serve, it's important to me. I'm trying to put out a better product so I can serve you. I want to help as many people as I can. And if my audience is saying, we want more consistent product from you, I'm going to do the best that I can, and I'm trying to get more organized. So organization, time management is something I'm working on. Content and quality is something I'm working on. Consistency is something I'm working on, and it's not easy for me. Case in point, I'm feeling better about it. Now, if I'm feeling better about doing something that I have intention with, it's going to help me in other areas of my life. It is helping me in business. It is helping me with my relationships. I am a better person to my family because I'm contributing in a space that I want to contribute. I'm getting feedback from my audience. I'm helping my audience. Therefore, the feedback loop is getting better and better. I'm in a success cycle. That success cycle helps me in other areas of my life. I hope you're getting it now. People that have gone through the no comfort zone with me for their 30-day period, it has changed them on so many different levels. By focusing in one or two areas, it impacts everything. Told this to my son the other day. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Right now, at 15 years old, his is keeping his word to his team. It's so important and so critical that you do that because you feel better as a man when you do that. It might not be the easiest thing, but when you commit your word as a man to your team, or better yet, to you, when you serve yourself, I'm committing to this because it's important to me. How are you going to change as a person to become better? Now, your significant others, they see that you're committing to your word. How do they feel about you? They're more attracted to you. They want to be more around you because that's the world needs more of. People that are true to their word. Integrity, character, honor, commitment. Those are really big words. And those are skills that you might need to develop or work on. Anytime when it comes to developing skills, there's going to be a massive action. You're going to make mistakes. Skills don't come from just acquiring skills, but you have to apply them through discomfort. There's another book that's out there. I think a lot of people have actually listened to this podcast will resonate with this, but Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book's all about skill development. It's built through small compounding action. And this is Clear's philosophy. Here's a quote from his book. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yep. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. How strong is that? You know, skills aren't goals. They're systems. Systems win when motivation fades. Man, is that true? Because sometimes I don't feel like doing certain things, but if there's a system in place, a process I have to follow, it works. And if you keep working that process or that system, let me step back. A process of diet and exercise is a process of diet and a process of diet and a process of, exercise and diet, pardon me there. That's two different processes. That equals a system. Then you throw sleep in there, that's another process. Now you have a system, and that's what? Health and fitness? You put all that together, now you have a system, but you have to focus each individual process. Same thing with cash analysis, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. All of those are a little process within there. Skill set development is a process, part of a bigger system. I hope that makes sense. So what I'd like to know is this. As you integrate the skills that you need in your life, the big question is, what do you want to accomplish? That goes to a step in the blueprint. What are the results you're trying to acquire? Why are you trying to do that? What do you need to do and acquire that? But more importantly, what skills? And here's something that a lot of people tend to miss. What resources do you need to acquire those skills? You might need a book. You might need to surround yourself with different people. You might need to grab something off the internet or social media one time and focus on that for 30 days instead of going down the rabbit hole like I did for years. The shiny new object. Or when you see something else, shiny new object, well, I'm not good enough to do that because let me just tell you, there's the carnivore diet, there's the Mediterranean diet, there's the fish diet, there's the fasting, there's the no fasting. But Jesus, by the end of the day, you could be so confused, you don't even know what to do, so it's afraid to take a step in the right direction. That's one of the reasons why I try not to edit so much on this. I'm going to put it out there. You'll consume it. If I make a misstep on a word, if I don't say the right thing, it's real. It's relevant. When you speak to me on the phone or a Zoom call, it is what it is. You get the same person. There is no fluff behind this because your life depends on it. If you don't have the necessary skills to survive, you're not going to survive. It's just that simple, unless you have great people around who are going to take care of you. But the whole idea of this is to become emotionally sound so you can start to have some confidence in your life, so you can make a few mistakes, learn from them, so you can develop some conviction in your life on who you are as a person by keeping your word, by showing up on time, by getting organized, by aspiring to your ambitions, to living to your potential, by really extending who you are, getting outside of that comfort area where you're at to live on a different level, to become better than you currently are, to become bigger than your problems, to getting to a point where you can honestly say, I don't care what people say about me. I'm living the right way. I'm defined by who I believe that I am. I'm following the way that the Creator wanted me to be. I'm living on purpose. I'm living on purpose with intention by being the best person I can be. Now you're living with certainty because you have faith in your life. Now you're living with conviction and confidence because you have all the 3 C's just because you've been doing the right thing at the right time when you're supposed to do it, because you have intention, you have purpose, you've developed some skills along the way, and now you know that you can not only survive in this world, but you can thrive. Because I'll tell you, the coma, waking up out of that, not knowing where I was at and what was going on, realizing that I've been crying like a little bitch because I had no money, everybody left me because of all the problems that I created. And then I realized, wait a minute, this is it. It was almost over. Lights out. I was done. Now, how do I want to get back in life? And I played it safe for years. I think that playing it safe for years was killing me. Day by day, by day, by day, by day. And if you're a guy out there and you've been kicked in the teeth by life and you've been beat up, chewed up and spit out, and you're sitting there just playing it safe right now, this is life. You're fat. You're 40. You don't like who you are. You don't like where you're at in this life. Well, it's time to change. It's time to really get out of that comfort zone. Develop some skills that are going to get you to the next level. Let me ask you, whatever time you're listening to this podcast probably goes out about 4:30 in the morning. What have you done so far today? What have you done to hold yourself accountable to live at a higher level? Did you get up at 4:30? Are you up at 5? Are you exercising? Are you eating right? Did you put out your financial plan? Did you put out your intentions, how you're going to contribute today other than yourself? What are you going to do for somebody else and you're not going to get caught doing something good for somebody else and you're not going to tell anybody? What are you going to do for somebody that's going to help them and better their situation? What are you going to do to better your situation? Are you going to read a good book? Are you going to check yourself into the Bible and start reading some good stuff in there and learn from it? How practical application based on those stories can impact your life today? What are you willing to do? Let's talk about the blueprint. Do you have the right mindset? Are you aware of currently where you're at? Where's your body weight right now? Where's your health? Where's your flexibility? Where's your water intake? Where's your family at? Have you checked in with them? Even if you're in a dysfunctional family, have you checked in with them? Have you understood where they're at, what they're going through? Have you tried to help them? This is real. This podcast is all about you getting from a life of being bored out of your mind, a life of completely average, to getting better. And sometimes you just need to know where you're at. Have you put goals in place? Have you looked at your outcomes, where you really want to be 3, 6, 9 months, a year from now? Listen, I've been told to slow down and not talk so fast on this podcast, but I can't help it. I lost a lot of time in my life and I talk fast. Maybe I should slow down for a better consumer product. But the fact of the matter is this: my level is fast, I'm intense, and I'm pretty passionate because I lost a lot of time. I'm excited for the outcome that you're going to get when you start working on your skills. Could you imagine if you had the intensity like David Goggins and you looked at life like, I got to get stuff done right now. I got to start learning something right now. My thermostat in my head, you might be okay with 15 grand in debt. You might be okay with 10 grand on your credit cards. You might be okay with having a big ass mortgage and paying that mortgage every month. I'm not. My thermostat kicks into overdrive. I want no debt. I want zero debt. And that's how I live my life. I want no debt. You might have I need to make $3,000 a month right now. There's a time when that was important to me. I need to make $3,000 a month. The older you get and the better you do, there might be a higher level of income. There's some people that I've met, Dan, I need to make 100 grand a month. Otherwise I'm sunk. Man, I never want to be in that situation because their cost of living is so high. So the fact and the matter is this: skills. Are you willing to get outside of that comfort zone and begin to learn new skills today? DM me, Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Email me, Dan at the No Comfort Zone. What skill sets can you work on today that you need help with? And if you don't know, you don't know. Grab a copy of the blueprint and start working the blueprint. Start in one of the squares and start working it. Start building your foundation today for your future success. You got to know where you're currently at right now. You got to know what's important to you. What drives your passion? What makes you what truly gets you up in the morning besides fear, doubt, and all the other stuff? Stop worrying about what other people think about you and just live your life. Put the pedal down and go. Because you only get one life. This ain't no dress rehearsal. So here's the challenge. What's one skill that you've been avoiding that you know you need to build? You name it, you own it. Take the first step today, even if it's small and messy, you got to do it. So that's pretty much where we're at this podcast. And I want to check in with you for a quick minute. These books that I read and that I've read way before I did this podcast. I remember sitting in my basement. I had to lose 30 pounds running in place. Didn't have a gym, didn't have any weights. It was an unfinished basement. It was a messy basement. And if you listen back to one of the first podcasts in 2019, I started running in place in my work clothes because I had to start losing the weight. What did I do? Ran in place, sweated profusely, broke down in tears. How did I let myself get to this place after everything that I've done? About 3 days later, put some goals in place. 3 days after that, or so, within a week, I had the blueprint. First part, awareness, identify, decide, and take actions. That's what I've decided to do. After long research and a lot of reflecting, I realized something Tony Robbins did when he started his whole thing way back 30, 40 years ago when he started his whole thing, when he was in Venice Beach. He just got to a point where he said, enough is enough. I'm going to change my life. That, my friends, is the no comfort zone. You get to a point where you're just tired of being you. You don't want to be average. You don't want to be broke. You don't want to be in the space anymore. You just know you can be better. That's who this podcast is for. You know you can be better. You know you can level up. Now, here's the question for you. If you're not there yet, life hasn't hit you. You're not going to lose the house. Your wife's not going anywhere. Your kids are okay. You got a pretty decent bank account. Here's the question for you. What if? Just what if you had a guy like David Goggins out there that lived with you, and there's a guy that's actually done this. He lived with you for 30 days, and he got in your head, and every time you got comfortable, he's like, let's go for a 5-mile run in the snow. That really happened to some guy that's out there. If you know who he is, hit me up, Dan at the No Comfort Zone. He's the guy with the big calendar. I remember that. Right around the time he was coming up with that is when I was going through my own no comfort zone. That's how I discovered him. Like attracts like. Who is this guy? Right around the same time. My question is this. What if you could apply your own little no comfort zones? It's hard. It's so simple though. Get up a little bit earlier. Get up a little bit earlier every day. Every day, just try to find something to better yourself. Andy Frisella, Real AF podcast, 75 Hard. That's the way to go about doing it. It's pretty extreme. It's pretty good. But you got to have some accountability. And there's skills that are involved that you need to do that. The person that you want to be, successful, you want all the money, you want the life, that person you are today can't have that. I hope you know that. You have to build the person that can handle that. That starts today. That person starts today just by simply doing a couple things. Gaining the right knowledge, having the right attitude, and today where we're at, we're talking about the necessary skills that you need to become that person. So find those skills that you need to be in order to become that person that can handle that level of success. Because that success will not be attracted to you until you handle the things that you need to do today. And that's probably one of the most profound things that I learned from Jim Rohn a long time ago. So I hope that you find the opportunity to do that. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about habits. So get that skill set down on what you need to do, how you need to do it, and we'll start talking about the habits that you need to do in the next podcast. So until we meet again, I hope this podcast finds you well. But as I always say with every podcast, you are worthy. You are worthwhile for success, and I hope this podcast finds you well. But more importantly, today's the day you get out of your comfort zone and you live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.